Big up everyone. What is happening? The Liverpool Prophet back again with another live stream show. Today, I have the honor of welcoming Callum from Coppish. Big up yourself, Callum, bro. Appreciate
Bless
you
you.
being on. Means a lot. Really does
Nah,
mean a lot.
thank you, bro.
Hope you're
Thanks.
doing well, bro.
I'm all right, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate the invite, man. So thank you.
Honor's all mine and pleasure's all mine.
Bless you, bro.
Big up, man. It's interesting at the moment talking about this club that is Liverpool, bro, because at the moment it's not great, is it? It's not great, man. It's not a great feeling.
It's not, bro. Literally a calendar year ago, we were celebrating winning the league, and I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna go on a little dynasty here. Man City rebuilding. Arsenal got Arteta and can't get over the line. Man United are in disarray. Chelsea are in disarray. I'm thinking, yeah, we're gonna kick on, man. And then we have the summer we have, and I'm like, oh, we're really gonna kick on. Obviously, left ourselves short, in my opinion, at centre back and left wing. But I'm like, we still have enough to go over the line. And then now a year later, bro, I'm sitting there going, we're going into a summer now where if we don't get things right, we could fall really by the wayside, and we could just be looking back at that season going, oh, how brilliant was that? But we're not going to experience that for a little while. This for me is probably the most pivotal summer in Liverpool's history or recent history that I can remember. And I know that gets thrown around every summer, but this one really is it for me because we don't know what's going on with the manager. Some of the personnel in the team, it looks like we're going through a real transition in terms of getting some of the old guard out and bringing some of the new guard in. We're losing leaders in terms of Salah and Robertson going. There's now talks of Allison going. So not only are we losing great players, we're losing big characters in the dressing room, big leaders in the dressing room. And I know sometimes people just look at the talent of the player, but sometimes you need that grit, you need that determination, that steel in the team. When Milner was at the club, you wouldn't say he was the most talented player in the dressing room, but what he did bring is discipline, work rate, and professionalism. And I don't think sometimes you can replace that so easy. So it's going to be a tricky summer to navigate. I feel as though we need quite a lot of players, but I don't think we'll sign that many players given how much business we did last summer. And then the manager situation, I don't know where you sit on the whole manager situation, but for me, I think we need a change, but I don't think we're going to get that change, unfortunately.
On the manager situation, bro, that is a big talking point at the moment because
Mm.
if you remember back in January, bro, people were talking like Alonso was a pre-agreed deal. It's been done. This that it's going to happen in the summer. Recently, I think it was after the Paris Saint-Germain game, the stories started to break out that the club want a backstop. They want to keep him for another year. Now it's looking, when you look at the likes of Ornstein reporting it, the reliable ones, it's looking likely.
Yeah,
You don't think the change happens, bro? You think we do end up sticking with Stott another year?
I do. I do think we stick with him. As I said, I'd love for us to make a change. I'll always respect Slot for delivering number 20. I'll always respect him for the season we had last season and everything like that. And he has had some difficult situations to deal with. Obviously, rest in peace to Diogo Jota. No other manager in Liverpool's history that I can remember has had to deal with anything like that.
Yeah.
We've had some horrific injuries this season as well, which I don't think can be ignored. But ultimately, for me, I think his man management, his style of football, and all of those things, the things that he can control, I think he's got massively wrong this season. And I don't see any way he turns it around unless we go and get phenomenal players. And look, every club wants to have phenomenal players. Every club wants to have world-class players in every position. And we've had that in the past. For me, the mark of a good manager is being able to adapt when you don't have those world-class players and still making you a good, difficult team to play against. And I don't think we've done that under Slot. I remember when Klopp first came in. I hate comparing him to Klopp because of who Klopp was. We had Lallana left wing. We had Lallana right wing, and Firmino was playing, and Coutinho was the front three sometimes with no pace, no real injection of dynamism. And he still made us compare. We got to 2 cup finals that season when we had no right to, and then obviously started getting in the players that he wanted and the club wanted, and we obviously saw what we did. We shouldn't need for us to go and get the absolute best player in every position for us to be successful. Because if that's the case, you can run that with any manager. We need a manager who's worth their salt, a manager who goes, all right, we haven't got this player available today, but you know what, we're going to adapt to do this and to do that, so we're able to get this result. And I'm not seeing that enough from Slot at the moment.
100% agree with everything you said there, bro. So if I catch back to last season, bro, beginning of last season when Klopp first left, Slot obviously comes in. We don't make no signings at all. We lose Thiago, Matip, and I believe there's another player we lost as well. So arguably we go into next season, last season, weaker than we were the season before. So how did you feel going into last season, Bob? If you don't mind me asking you that, were you worried, concerned because we didn't make the signings? Of course, new manager coming in.
Oh, I don't think I was worried, but then that's also because of my expectations. I didn't go into that season expecting to win the league. So maybe that's my expectations where I'm like, okay, because I'm not expected to win the league, then my whole thing was make sure we qualify for Champions League. I know a lot of pundits and a lot of rival fans had us finishing outside the top 4, top 5. I said we'd finish third, and I thought we'd finish third comfortably. I thought Man City and Arsenal would go compete for the league, and I thought we'd finish third, and then Man U, Chelsea, and the rest would kind of follow suit. What gave me optimism when Klopp left and Slot came in was that the players were speaking so highly of Slot after a few training sessions and saying how refreshing it was. And it was, and I know the media tried to spin it saying how it was being disrespectful to Klopp. I think it was being disrespectful. I think it was, no, we're seeing and hearing new things now. So what we're seeing and hearing is different to what we've been hearing for the last however many years. We love Klopp, but sometimes you need fresh ideas, right? And getting that with Slot. I remember the pre-season, we were seeing different set piece takers, different set piece systems, and you're looking at playing a 4-2-3-1, and we're playing different ways, and we were counter-attacking teams, but we're also able to be a bit more compact. And I was thinking, okay, maybe this has got something about him, because I knew nothing about Slot before he came. And then we started this season well, and I was thinking, okay, we're winning games 2-0 and 3-0 and the odd 2-1s and stuff, but we're compact. We're not struggling in these games. It's not as exciting as it was before, but we're winning games, and that excitement will fashion itself. And it did. Like, I remember we played Spurs before the new year, and we beat them 6-3. Then we played West Ham the following week, and then we beat them 5-0. And I'm like, oh, we're here now. He's made us compact, which has bred the confidence, and then boom, now we're like, oh wow, look at this. Definitely not bored, not yet. But no, I look at it now, looking back, and this is why I will have respect for him always, because he won us that league. And I know people say, oh, Salah won us the league. You're right, Salah was phenomenal, but he also made the tactical tweak to allow Salah to thrive, which is again why I'm so frustrated this season, because I'm like, you've had the formula, but you decide to go against the grain for whatever reason and start making Salah players a touchline winger, and start making Gakpo players a touchline winger, and start inverting the fullbacks when last season the fullbacks were overlapping. So it feels as though the players that we have for this season would have been better suited for how we played last season. The players we had last season would have been better suited for playing this season. So it just all feels a bit weird for me. So again, just another reason why I'm just not really convinced about him being the future for Liverpool.
I completely hear you on that, to be fair, Bo. So last season started, Bo. Like you said there, I don't think we were playing great football. I do think we were a bit more pragmatic. Wasn't as enjoyable, but the results were there. I think we were maybe winning games that under Klopp we might have drawn. You know what I'm saying? I think there's maybe Southampton away 3-2 last season. We drew that one under Klopp. You know what I'm saying? So wasn't great. But then City and Arsenal weren't great as well. I felt personally, Bo, because I didn't think we were playing particularly well. I thought we were winging it personally, Bo. I thought City would do their usual thing where they start slow, then they get faster in the later half of the season, and we fall off because new manager managed that. But we remained consistent. So if I ask you, Bo, what was the game last year that made you think, this is our title, we're gonna win it this year?
It was a West Ham game. I was doing fan cams up at Spurs. And that was, I think, the week before the West Ham game or something like that. And going into that game, I was like, if we can win this game, it puts down a big marker. And then the manner in which we won the game, I was like, oh. And I said, like, if we beat West Ham, the league's done. Because at the time, I think Arsenal and City were both dropping points. And then looking at the league table, we would have had to have gone on a horrific run. And Arsenal or City would have to be almost perfect just to match us points-wise. And then they'd have to kick on from there. After we beat West Ham, I literally said, I was like, the league's done. And obviously, you watch our content, like, you can imagine, like, people being like, Cal, you're going too early, chill out, bro, the Cal curse, this and that. And I was just like, no, if you look at the table, if you look at the form, you look at how teams are playing and everything, we've just got too much for everyone this season. And that was the game where I was like, we're definitely doing it. Did we have a few wobbles after that? Yeah, like the 2-2 Everton draw and stuff like that. But even then, I never sat there and was really worried like that. I was always like, yeah, we're quite comfortable this season. What about yourself, actually?
For me, but it was trying to think now when it was the Spurs game. I thought, you know what? To be fair, Spurs were where they were in the league. They weren't great, and Spurs away
Yeah,
and home is usually a game that we do score a couple of goals in. Trying to think now what game it would have been for me. The West Ham game was great as well, 5-0 away from home. For me, Bo, it was earlier than that. I actually felt like when was it now? The 2-0 against City, I think it was at home. That week where we beat Madrid 2-0.
Yes, yeah.
2-0, same week. That was the week where I kind of started to really get sold on Slot, when I started to really get on the Slot hype train. That was when I started to really believe as well, yeah, we can win this league for Team Serious and that. Because I think the way we dealt with City at home, really good. First half, I think we played some good football that game. Yeah. Second half, we were a bit more compact. Madrid just smoked them from minute 1 to the end at Anfield.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
That was the game I really thought, yeah, we can do this. We can win this title.
That Real Madrid week with Man City, I forget about that, because that was a game where I think Bradley really came of age with how he dealt with Mbappe with that tackle. Salah, for me, just showed his class because he won a penalty in that Real Madrid game, even though he didn't score it, but he was excellent in that game. That City game, him and Trent were just unreal. And again, going up against two of Europe's elite teams as well in the space of a week, and not only did we keep a clean sheet, Kelleher was excellent, saving a penalty from Mbappe as well. It felt like everything and everyone was just really clicking into gear. And again, because Slot was so opposite to Klopp in terms of his demeanor and his attitude, it was like, oh, okay, it's like we can survive without Klopp. Like, even though we all love Klopp and we're worried to lose him, we can survive without him. I mean, it was just, for me, re-established like my feelings towards Liverpool, that we will survive no matter what. But at the same time, we still need the right people. And Slot was the right person last season. But yeah, 100%. But that week was phenomenal, man.
It was an amazing week, bro.
Take me back to that any day. Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful.
I think what made the league title even sweeter last year, bro, was the fact that no one gave us a chance going into the season. Yeah. They all said, you've got a Dutch manager, you've got Ten Hag 2.0. Well, this year, they might have been proven right on that to an extent. Originally, last year, that's what they were all saying. And we just go and steamroll it, man, and we shut everyone up. I think that's what made it the sweetest for me.
Can I ask you a question, bro? Do you think that the lack of expectation fed into us winning the league, in the sense that because no one gave us a chance, we just didn't have that pressure? Whereas this season, going into this season, you could see the pressure was there from the beginning. Do you think we struggle to deal with that pressure as a team?
I think we do, bro, because if you remember back in 2020, bro, similar thing happened. Now, 2020, obviously, we had the injuries, didn't we? So it was a bit different. But in 2019, I think people expected City to attain the league again. No one expected us to really dominate that league the way we did. We did that. Year after, we are now title favourites. People aren't really giving City that much, talking about City as much. And I think we don't deal with that expectation as well. Granted, we had the injuries. If we didn't, maybe it's different. I think the same thing this time around, bro. Everyone was talking about how City and the Pep were going to do it again. I think people even had Arsenal finishing above us under Arteta. People really thought it was going to be a transitional year. I remember a lot of people, bro, they didn't even have us in the top 5. They didn't even have us in the top 5. They were saying 7th, 8th, 9th. So I think being the underdogs, no one giving us a chance. Even when we were winning the games early in the season, people weren't really giving us the chance and after the flowers. I do think that fed into us winning the league for sure. I think the players and the manager felt, okay, this is a good thing. No one's giving us our flowers. We're not being hyped up in the media, because they usually hype up Arsenal, don't they? Arsenal have a team that they usually go and talk about everywhere and say they're going to do this, they're going to do that. So I felt the players kind of thought maybe let Arsenal deal with that. We'll just go about doing our own thing under the radar, and that's what we did, I felt.
Yeah, completely agree, bro. Completely agree. Yeah, going into that season, it was almost like, it's weird because if we had this season that we're having now last season, I think it would have been more tolerated and accepted. But because we had won the league last season, I think it's even more frustrating going through this season.
100%, bro. 100%. So I think the first half of last season was good. And in the second half of the season, that's kind of where this whole fall off started, isn't it? Where we're now seeing it's a big fall off. I think at the time we all felt the players have taken their foot off because we've won the league. League's confirmed. Where do you think it started to go wrong, bro? What game was it where you felt, okay, we've let it slip here? We've started to really let the standards drop compared to where we were a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, trying to pinpoint a game. Spurs away in the Carabao Cup semi-final wasn't great, but then we did smash them in the reverse fixture in the semi-final. I'd probably say maybe the PSG and Newcastle games.
That's what
In
I
the
was going to say as well.
Carabao Cup final was really, but when I watched the game at the time, it was bad. I went up to Wembley to watch the game, and then when I saw it back, and I was just like, one McAllister's marking Dan Burns on set piece, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, that made zero sense, bro. Zero
And then
sense.
we just got battered in the midfield, like Bruno and Joe Linton, etc. They just bullied us, but they not just bullied us. Eddie Howe tactically stripped us naked in the midfield because what teams were doing, which was helping us with Gravenberch. Teams were saying, "Oh, we're going to go tight on Gravenberch because we can maybe try and win the ball high up." But Gravenberch is so good at rolling players and turning out of the press and then driving up the pitch that it just destroyed teams. However, Newcastle were just like, "Oh, we're not going to do that. We're just going to box around Gravenberch. So we're either going to stop him getting the ball or we're going to let him turn on the ball, but then we're going to just close off the passing lanes." And because he's not the greatest of progressive passers, it just completely stifled us. And then it meant Szoboszlai was having to come in deeper to get the ball, which meant our whole attack was having to come deeper to get the ball. And then from there, we just weren't able to break Newcastle down. And then obviously they had Isak at the time was on fire, and anything he touched turned into a goal. As we saw at the weekend, he can just turn anything into a goal a lot of the time. So it was a calamity of errors. And then the PSG game at Parc des Princes last season, I mean, everyone forgets without Alisson that day, we're looking at 6-7-0 maybe. And then we get a lucky 1-0 win there, smash and grab through Harvey Elliott and Nunes with the assist. And then the home leg, barring 20-minute spell in the game as a whole, like 10 minutes in the first half and then 10 minutes in the second half, we got played off the park and deserved to go out. So that for me is where it started to unravel a little bit. And then again, when we won the league and then the players go on holiday and the manager goes on holiday, for me, it just sent out the wrong message completely. I know I got a lot of criticism at the time for calling it out because everyone was like, well, we won the league, just enjoy it. And I was like, I can enjoy doing it in the league, but we still have a job to do. There's still integrity in. You can't just switch on and off professionalism, in my opinion. Professionalism is something that you have to maintain and develop. And I don't think we did that.
I agree 100%. I agree with you when you were saying about that whole holiday thing, because I think the players went to Ibiza before the season ended or something.
Yeah.
It just gives across a real unprofessional and disrespectful vibe. If they want to do that at the end of the season when it's over, I understand it. But they did it during the season when there was still a couple of games left, and the fact Slot allowed that to happen as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it just let standards slip, like you said yourself, boy. It let the standards slip, didn't it?
Yeah,
and I feel it's kind of had a bit of a lasting effect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my issue as well. That was my issue. And not just that, I have to look at it from a rival's perspective. If I'm a rival and I see a team win the league and then they go on holiday, I'm thinking, oh, the next time we play you, I want to win even more now. I want to teach you guys a lesson. Now, I don't think he understood that. Teams probably saw that and felt really disrespectful and were like, oh no, we're never going to let this happen again. And I think you only have to look at how some of these teams play against us to maybe see that could be the case.
100%. Because I remember after we won the league, I think the first game back we lost 3-1 away at Chelsea. I don't think we won a game, did we, bro? After we didn't win a game, bro. Even the last game against Palace we drew. So
yeah,
there were worrying signs there, bro. But I think because we'd accumulated so much points toward the in the first half of last season, I think we'd done just enough with the experience we had in the team. And with Arsenal being inconsistent to just get over the line, I don't think we were really in danger. I think if Arsenal were a bit more consistent, had a bit more about them, maybe we could have had a problem in the second half of last season. And they could have slowed us down. But because they didn't, I think we were able to get over the line.
Yeah, facts.
100% on that. But we did have some good results in there as well, but to be fair, the 5-1 at home to Spurs was really special. I mean, that for me,
that was just perfect because for me that game epitomized Liverpool. We go into the game, know we need a win to secure the league, and what do? We concede first, and it's just like it's typical Liverpool, in it. Like we always do things the hard way, but then we get a scrappy first goal, and you're like, that's typical Liverpool as well. But then McAllister scores an absolute screamer, and you're like, this is just heaven. And then Gakpo gets a goal, Salah gets a goal, and then the own goal at the end, and then it's comfortable for the last like 5-10 minutes, and you're just like, we're just laughing and joking, we're having
celebrating
fun,
early, man, as well.
Celebrating early, the flares are going off, and then the moment that whistle goes and that feeling of exhilaration, it's weird you actually speak about this or bring this up, bro. On my Skybox, I've still got that game saved and the celebration after it, and I was just going through and clearing some stuff off the Skybox, and I was just like, I came across it, and I was like, I've got to spare half an hour, I might just watch this. And bro, you look at the camaraderie, you look at the fans, and everything about that day was just special. Obviously, Jota's in those videos and pictures as well, so it's a lasting memory of him, and it was just perfect. That day was just perfect, and the way that we closed out that game was perfect. And look, and again, those memories will never leave us. And
of course,
obviously, for anyone who was lucky enough to be at the parade, like myself, like I kid you not, bro, we traveled from London to Liverpool. Took us like 5 hours to get there, probably longer. And we got to see the players for maybe 1 minute.
It was worth it, wasn't it, bro?
It was worth every single second of it. Getting to meet people out there. Like, we're from London, and we're there with Scousers, and we've got different accents. We look different. We all dress different, but we all share one thing, and that is the love we have for this club, this amazing club. And it just, for me, it went beyond football that day. It went beyond Liverpool. It was just like, as human beings, when we have something we all agree on, how beautiful is this moment? And it just was. And obviously it got marred by the whole incident that happened with the guy driving through the street and stuff like that. But even then, you just saw how the community came together and supported one another. And brother, it's just a special club, man. I know every team says that about their club, but we genuinely do have a special club.
We do.
And yeah, it's nice to be a part of this club.
100%, bro. On that game, bro, you know when you just go into a game and you just know whoever we play, whether it's United, Spurs, and we need to win the league, they're in for a rough game. You know we're not coming out of it. I think anyone who'd rocked up to Anfield that day would have got a hiding. It's just the same for Spurs fans that it was their team that came.
You just we were spanking anyone that day.
Yeah, you just knew it was going to happen, man. I think what made it really special as well, bro, back in 2020, when we won the league, COVID obviously happened. We were robbed of that feeling. The players lifted they lifted the trophy, but it was in an empty stadium. So we didn't have that feeling, and we didn't think we were going to have it again because of how good City were under Pep and then Klopp leaving. And then last year we were lucky enough to win the league. This time with the fans in the ground the right way, and I think that made it just that even bit specialer than it was back in 2020.
Yeah. So 2020 was the first league title I saw us lift in our lifetime, and I remember that feeling of when Chelsea beat Manchester City 2-1 for us to win the league, and you seen the video of the players at the hotel, and they're all singing and dancing and celebrating. And then I remember obviously us lifting the trophy in Anfield, but it was only close friends and family that were allowed in, and that they had to wear masks, and no one was allowed on the pitch. And it was still a magical celebration, but it just didn't feel right. Didn't feel right. And then it was like we came close to winning the league again in the quad chasing season. You're thinking, are we going to see that again? Why are we the team that wins the league when there's no fans there, but everyone else has got to experience that special feeling? Everyone else has got to go on the parade apart from us. So to actually do it then, the only downside of not being able to not being able to do it sooner than that was the fact that players like Mane and Klopp, and obviously Klopp wasn't able to have that parade, because some of those players like Gini Wijnaldum and all those players who were part of that squad, and Fabinho and Henderson, it would have been beautiful for them to experience that parade, for them to go on that open top bus and drive through the city with that Premier League trophy. And obviously they didn't get that, but sometimes football's written like that. And I always will be grateful for that team for getting us over the line then, but I'll also be grateful for this team for allowing us to then share it with the world and be there and take those moments in person.
100%, bro. 100% agree with that. So, Twisted Fair asked the question: you guys won like the first 5 games. What happened in your guys' opinion after that? Were they showing signs during that time? What do you think about this, Carl? Obviously, we did win the first 5 games. Then the Palace game happens, and then at the time we probably think that Palace game is a one-off and we'll bounce back. But that's where the dip really started, and we haven't been able to get it back. Where do you think it went wrong, then, bro?
I don't think it ever went right. I think you look back at those games where we were winning, and I was so guilty of this. I'll be the first to put my hands up. I always break the season down into 3 parts. So the first 10 games just get me the results and rhythm and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
The second set of 10 games, or the second, so 10, and then you're looking at from 10 to 30. Get me those performances as well as the points. And then for the last 8 games of the season, for those first 5 games, while I saw some cracks in the wall and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, it's cool because we're getting the points on the board. And because we had a lot of new players and everything and made quite a lot of changes, I'm like, okay, we'll get it right, we'll click. And then once we do click, everyone's in trouble, because if we're winning games and we're not even playing well, when we do click, it's trouble for everyone. But that Crystal Palace game was a real eye-opener, because again, Alisson saved us in that game to the point where they could have been out of sight. It should have been maybe 4 or 5-0 in the first half. And then you're thinking, okay, we lose that last minute. But then you have the Chelsea game after that, and you're like, we lose to a last-minute goal with Esteval. And then it just continues spiraling. Then we lose to Man United. I'm like, now we've got a real issue. That was the one where I'm like, no, we've got a real issue. Yeah, and then it was the Brentford game was the one that sent me over the edge, because I'm just like, you're not rectifying your mistakes. You're not changing what you're doing. And you're sitting there selling us that you don't like playing against low blocks, when Liverpool have been playing against low blocks since the mid-2000s. So it's like, if you can't sort this out, then you're not the right guy for the job. And unfortunately, he didn't sort it out, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So it's, again, annoying, because you start the season with 15 points out of 15 with so much promise. I remember Szoboszlai's free kick against Arsenal, and you're like, this is just going to be our season again. You remember the last minute winner against Burnley, but even that game against Burnley, we played awful, but Hannibal decides to throw his hand up in the air. We get a penalty from it. The game against Bournemouth, I thought we were really good in, but then we concede 2 silly goals, and then we have to kill the game late in the game. And then the Everton game, we win 2-1, but again, still not very convincing. So everything was in front of us. We just probably chose to ignore. Well, I chose to ignore. I won't speak for any other fans or the fan base, because I'm not in a position to do that. I chose to ignore it because I thought we'd kick on and the performances would get better. So I've learned my lesson.
I hear that, bro. I hear that. I think the Palace game happens, we lose to Palace. Then I think it was the Galatasaray game, Champions League, in between that. The 1-0 there, that was a bad one as well, bro.
That was bad.
That was a bad one. Then the Chelsea game.
PSV.
That was 4-1 at home.
Yeah, that was at home. And then the Forest 3-0 at home as well. Brother.
There's been some bad ones in there this year. Some real bad ones.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Some real bad ones. The worrying thing for me was, bro, the fact that after the Palace, Chelsea, and Galatasaray games, we had an international break, I believe, after that Chelsea game.
Yeah.
You think the manager would be able to sort whatever's going on, whatever's wrong out in that break, and we'll come back. But the fact that we came back from the break and there was no improvement, so we looked just as bad as we did before the break, was the worrying sign for sure.
Yeah, completely agree.
That was definitely the worrying sign there. Do I think United were great against the squad that game, the 2-1?
No, they weren't.
No, I don't. See, I get a lot of hate for that, for saying I don't think they were great. I don't think they were. I think
they weren't great. They were good, but they weren't. Yeah, they weren't great. They were good. They were good against us, but they weren't great. We still had chances in that game, and in my opinion, we were the reasons why we can see. Like the first goal, Virgil comes out of position, and Konate's chasing shadows. It was a calamity. Kirkhead is nowhere to be seen. It was a calamity for the first goal, and then the second goal, everyone decides to vacate the box while the ball's coming back in. And again, very good header by Maguire, but it was a poor showing. And then we missed some really good chances. I remember Isak being put through by Kanate, and you're thinking, oh, this is bread and butter for Isak, and kicked it straight at the goalkeeper pretty much. So it was a bad day at the office, but Man United were still good, but we were really bad as well.
I agree with that, man. Big up Indian Scouser, man. Big up yourself, Indian Scouser.
Big up Indian Scouser.
Big up, brother. Big up, man. Hope you're doing well. So there's that, bro. If we then got Twisted Fate here says I don't think we were. I mean, just tactically outclassed lot. Tends to win every second ball going long. I hear that, Twisted Fate.
That's true.
I hear that.
That's true.
I hear that, bro. It's even madder when you think they sacked their manager, bro. That manager who won at Anfield this season, because that was their first win at Anfield since can't remember now how long it's been.
I think it was since Van Gaal when Rooney scored to make it 1-0. I think that would have been in 2015 or 2016. So yeah, about 9
That's
years.
another record, but we don't want broken. That's not managed to break there. So there's that. So if we go back to the summer then, bro. Obviously going into the summer, I didn't expect a lot, bro. I can't lie. I thought FSG would do the usual. We can't spend money, this, that, and we wouldn't be able to attain it.
My owners, bro. My owners.
Yeah.
My owners.
But, bro, the summer was surprising because we actually did something we don't usually do, and that was spend a lot of money. So we started the window off. I think Frimpong was signed before the season ended, actually, if I'm correct.
Yeah, pretty much.
We had that done. I'm not sure about I think the words rumors were there before the season ended as well. Obviously, we signed
just after the season. Yeah, just after the season ended. Divert stuff started, and then so go. All right, so I mean, again, I know I've got Fenway Sanderson group here and all that, but when we finished the season, because we had won the league, I actually didn't think we'd do that much, even though I wanted us to. And again, as you said, historically, we haven't really spent money like that before. I think when it changed for me was when I actually broke it down and thought, okay, so the previous January, we didn't sign anyone. We were linked to Kvaratskhelia, didn't sign anyone. The previous summer, we only signed Chiesa. Then the January before that, we hadn't signed anyone either because we couldn't, because Klopp was leaving. So there's no point bringing anyone else in. And then the summer before that, we signed 4 midfielders because 4 midfielders or 5 midfielders left. So I'm like, okay, if we went 3 windows without spending anything, then we have to spend in this one. And then when we were first linked to Wirtz, I was like, we're not getting Wirtz. Bayern Munich and Man City are in for him. It's just one of those things where our name's getting dragged into it because they probably want to hike up the price or the agent wants to get more money for Wirtz. When we got Wirtz over the line, I was like, oh, the floodgates are going to be open. And then even when we signed Wirtz, I was like, we're going to get Isak. And again, I got laughed out of the room because everyone's like, you're doing too much now. And I was like, no, there's a reason why we're being linked with him in the same way we're being linked with Wirtz. And then obviously Frimpong, Kerkez, those were 2 of the worst kept secrets in football, to be fair. Then we got Wirtz in over the line. Then we brought in Woodman as third choice goalkeeper. Mamadash really came back from loan from Valencia. And then you're thinking, okay, Giovanni Leone, that kind of came out of nowhere. But then we linked with Mark Gahey as well. And I'm thinking, if we get Mark Gahey, then we're really cooking because we'll have those 5 centre-backs that we need. And then obviously the tragic passing of Jota meant that I think we pivoted and got Ekitike. Yeah. Then when we got Ekitike, a lot of the fan base were like, oh, well, we ain't getting Isak now. And I was like, no, we are, because we need 2 strikers. Nunez is going. Jota, unfortunately, has passed away. And Diaz is going. So we need another striker. We can't go into the season with 1 striker. And then obviously we've got Isak. And look, I know people revise the summer and be like, oh, we didn't have any balance in the squad. We lacked, I wouldn't even say we didn't have balance because we had 4 centre-backs going into the season. And most people were happy with that. We had 2 right-backs, 2 left-backs, 3 goalkeepers, plenty of centre midfielders. We had 1 left winger, 1 senior left winger, and then Rio, who still didn't know what he was going to be. We had Chiesa and Salah for the right, and then we had Ekitike and Isak. Again, in hindsight, the squad isn't as great as we thought. But it's revisionism of last summer that we had a rubbish summer or we overspent or we bought Isak when we didn't need to. We should have spent that money on a winger and defender. No. If we wanted a winger and defender, we would have got a winger and defender. We were happy with what we had. I wasn't happy with the wing situation because I thought we could improve on Gakpo. And I also wanted 5 centre-backs. But I kept on getting told throughout the summer, we don't need 5 centre-backs. Why do we need 5 centre-backs? And I was just like, we do, because you know, Leone's new, Gomez is going to get injuries, and then you're going to put too much workload on Virgil Kanate. Unfortunately, that was proven correct. And also the left wing situation. But in my opinion, even though I thought it was going to be a transition year, for me, the transition, we still should have won the league, given what we had brought in the summer and given the squad we had. But again, it's literally just been a transition year. And I don't even know if it's been a full transition year yet. But the summer, I gave our summer window like a 9 out of 10.
But I agree. I think the summer was brilliant. I think we can say, oh, we didn't get this player did this position, that was it. I thought it was great. I was really happy with the summer. The fact that we signed Frimpong, Wirtz, Kirkes early days as well, bro. Obviously, then the tragedy happened after that. We then come back. You know, it felt a bit weird after that. I think Diaz then moved on to Bayern. Then we bring in a Hugo, I think Ekitike, and then Isak was at the end. Where I think, if I'm correct, he was actually in Liverpool gear, ready to do his interview, bro, and then the deal got pulled or something like that. So that was
even that. So sorry to cut you, bro. Like with the Gahey thing, I understand that we could have bid for him earlier and stuff like that. Here's the problem: Palace weren't selling until they got a replacement, and they didn't get a replacement. That's why. So everyone thinks that Glasner threatened to leave and all that. He didn't threaten to leave. He just said, look, we can't go into the season without a replacement. If we get me a replacement, it's cool. And remember, they tried to get that Brighton defender, and that Brighton defender pulled out at the last minute, which meant that Gahey pulled out at the last minute. I think the two players that we lost that hurt us the most, in my opinion, was Diaz and Harvey Elliott. Diaz for obvious reason. But again, as good as Diaz has been for Bayern Munich, if we had gone out and got a left winger replacement, I don't think we're sitting there having this conversation right now. I think we're going, okay, this new winger in Gakpo, they got us through the season. Harvey Elliott, and I know people will be like, how we speak about Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott brought balance to the team, and he was someone that could come off the bench and really change a game. And he showed it so many times. Not to mention, when Wirtz went playing in the 10, it makes Szoboszlai had to go back in the 10, which offset the midfield. If Wirtz weren't starting in the 10, then Elliott could have come into the 10. When Salah got injured or wasn't playing very well, you could have played Harvey Elliott out on the right. Again, not as dynamic, not as quick as Salah, but he knows how to play that position. It would have allowed Frimpong to continue at right back. Frimpong would be overlapping. Harvey Elliott's got a good delivery into the box. He's got an eye for a goal. I think it would have just changed the dynamic if we'd kept Harvey Elliott and got a replacement for Diaz. And I'm still hoping Harvey Elliott's got a future in this club. I just don't know if he will come back and actually get any game time or will actually play. But him and Wirtz as our 2 10s, I'd be over the moon with, personally.
100%, bro. I feel bad for Elliott, bro, because he didn't really get a set. Well, obviously didn't have him in his plans. That's obvious. He's gone to Villa as well, and at Villa, he's not getting game time.
Yeah, it's
true. Looks like that Emery doesn't really affect him. So I do feel bad for the guy. It makes you wonder what happens. Does he come back Liverpool? Does he go elsewhere? But I think we'd all take him back in a heartbeat, 100%.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
100%, bro. And then Diaz, bro. I agree. I don't think it was selling him. I think the fact that we didn't replace him. I remember we were being linked with Rodrigo a lot at the time, and I would have taken that, letting Lucho go, bringing Diaz.
That was the one. That was the one for me. I was like, go and get. And I think we like Rodrigo as a club. I know Michael Edwards really likes Rodrigo. Tried to sign him before he went to Real Madrid. It just didn't seem like he wanted to leave Real Madrid. So it just seemed like we couldn't convince him. But my thing is, if you can't convince the player, then you pivot to someone else. And it's like we just didn't do that either. And it's like that's the bit that annoyed me.
100% agreed there, bro. So the problem wasn't letting him go; it's just not replacing him properly. So we go into the season, bro, and I think we're only really lacking in the wing position and a centre back. Other than that, I think the squad looks in a good shape.
Yeah. And in my mind, I'm thinking we go back in for Gahey or someone else in January as well. So I'm like, cool, we'll be all right.
Big up to Aston, man. Big up to the brother Aston.
Big up, bro.
So this is a bit of a sensitive topic here, bro, and forgive me for asking, but I did want to get your opinion on it. The whole Diogo situation and what happened in the summer. Do you think that's played a part in us having a poor season and why we've been the way we are? Or do you think it's being stretched and deliberately used? Because I have seen people not happy with what's been said about it. How do you feel about that situation? Again, apologies if it is a sensitive question, but get your opinions.
Yeah, I want to be really mindful how I answer this because I don't want to offend anyone. And this is a subject that's bigger than football, obviously. Everyone obviously deals with grief differently, and I would never tell someone how to deal with their grief, nor would I say, like, I dealt with mine this way, so you should deal with yours that way. In the same way, though, I say that from a footballing standpoint, I don't think this season's gone how it's gone because of the passing of Jota. I think it's gone how it's gone because the manager's changed his philosophy. Now, from a mental perspective, losing Jota the way we lost him is always going to be painful for those players. But it's not just going to be a one season thing. This is unfortunately going to live with these players for the rest of their lives. It's going to live with us as fans for the rest of our lives. I remember exactly where I was when I got the phone call about Jota. Exactly, like, it's one of the shortest live shows I've ever done, which was about 4 minutes because I just didn't have the words to say. But I thought we have to actually speak about this because we can't just ignore this. This is one of our players who we've lost tragically. So if I felt numb towards the situation in a heartbroken way, I can only imagine what his friends and family are feeling. So I'd never downplay the mental fatigue that they went through. But I think the season's gone the way it's gone penultimately, but is because of the lack of tactical awareness and the lack of man management. And if we're going to go to another level, because of what happened, you'd expect the man management to be even more honed in this season, even more put under a microscope, because you're thinking you're dealing with players who've gone through an extremely traumatic experience. The last thing they're going to want is you being cold in what you say and not thinking about what you say before you say it. And again, I think it's all led into that. And I look at the body language of some of those players, and when he speaks to them sometimes on the sideline, you think they don't really seem like they're up for him as the leader. They don't want to hear his voice. And again, for Slot, he's been in a situation that no other Liverpool manager's been in. In fact, no, I'll change that. The only manager who's been through something like that is Kenny with regards to Hillsborough. We saw the mental and physical toll that took on Kenny. And again, different scenarios, but the premise in terms of tragedy and lost lives. Kenny, in my opinion, dealt with that very differently. And I'm not saying, again, Slot should dealt with it how Kenny did, because Kenny was right in the middle of Hillsborough. But I just think Slot could have dealt with everything this season a bit better from an on-pitch perspective. Off the pitch, I can't speculate what's going on behind closed doors, nor would I with a subject like this. But from what I've seen on the pitch, we started the season well in terms of the results, and the moment we started losing, that's when Jota's name was brought up, and that's what I didn't like. For me, the same consistency. I don't want, whenever we lose a game, is Jota this, Jota that. Let him rest in peace. Stop bringing it up because it's going to hurt the family as well. Let's just keep it to football as to why we lost the game or didn't win the game.
100% agree with everything you said there, bro. 100% agree with that. It's very upsetting when you see before the season certain fans are mentioning that we're going to win the 20th league title in Diogo's honour, and then when we start losing, they flip it around. It's not nice to see at all, man. It's not nice to see at all. I agree with you on that for sure. So going back to the football then, bro. Where do you think it's gone wrong for Slot, bro? Because as you said, last season, the players were speaking very highly of him. It looked like they were liking him. This season, looks like they've completely just fallen out with him. They don't seem to take to him. You knew with Klopp, bro, the players were always going to give 100%. You knew when we had a bad season, Klopp would find a way to fix it. You just knew 22, 23, we were bad. But I think we all knew deep down, Jurgen, he'll find a way to fix this and we'll be better again. Players believed in Klopp. You could see how much they loved him. What do you think's happened with Slot, bro? Because you said they spoke highly of him last season, and then this season it's flipped. What do you think's gone wrong there? If you had to put your finger on
it, 3 things. I think we're being outrun by our opponents in virtually every game we play, and I think that's a tactical thing. I don't think he's any more playing to the strength of the players. I think he has an idea or philosophy of how he wants the game to be played or how he wants Liverpool to play, and he doesn't adapt to that regardless of the personnel. And then also his in-game management is awful this season. It's just been awful. Like, I'm watching games sometimes, I'm like, I can figure out what we're doing, and I'm a content creator. I sit on a laptop and speak to people who give me the grace of listening to me. I've never done any UEFA badges or FA coaching courses or anything. If I can figure out what we're doing, if I can figure out a way of stopping what we're doing to make a team have success against us, and a manager who's getting paid millions a year to not figure this out, then alarm bells are ringing for me. And that's where I had my issues, because it was just like, he doesn't seem to be getting it. Like even the Palace game just gone, bro. Won that game 3-1, but you look at the quality of goals we scored. Isak's goal comes out of nothing. That's a shot from McAllister, and he controls it with his left foot, volleys it with his left foot. Robbo's goal, like that's a Fowler-esque finish. Like, not many people are scoring that type of goal. And then Wirtz's goal is just out of this world. When you actually watch the game, though, Palace ran more than us, created more chances, had more shots, if I'm not mistaken, and our goalkeeper was man of the match. So yeah, on paper, the result that matters the most is what's on paper. We won the game 3-1, and I'll never ever take credit away from the boys. But then when you're looking at playing style and how we played, again, it leaves a lot to be desired, and we're conceding too many chances and then not getting enough clear-cut chances ourselves. So it's a recipe for disaster.
Agreed, bro. The football is the main thing for me, bro. It's one of the main things, because the football that we've become accustomed to under Jurgen is high pressing, high energy, running like dogs. And the start is the complete opposite. He wants to play this boring, slow, possession-based style of football, which just doesn't suit the Liverpool DNA. It's not what we've become accustomed to down the years. Now, I remember, I think it was a period between, I think it was after the PSV game where Slot found a way to stop losing. I think we had that one where we were winning Brighton, Wolves, was it?
We changed formation.
Changed formation, but we found a way to steady the ship, and we weren't playing great football, but we were getting results over the line. But we could still see that something's still not right there, if you remember that period.
Yeah, we switched to a 4-3-1-2 or 4-4-2 diamond, and we were actually starting to get a tune out of the players. It was Grav, Jones, Sobo, and Mac or Wirtz playing, and then the two up top, which was Isak and Ekitike, or Ekitike and Salah. And we were starting to cook a little bit, and then Salah went to AFCON, if I'm not mistaken, after the Brighton game. And then we just reverted back to tight when Gakpo came back from injury, if I'm not mistaken. We just went back to the 4-3-3. And again, I was just sitting there like, what is he doing? Like, why would you do this? And then, it started unraveling again. Even that week where we beat Aston Villa and Man City, Aston Villa and Real Madrid, and you're looking at going, okay, we beat Aston Villa. It wasn't a great performance, but we took advantage of the opportunities and we got the win. Then the Real Madrid game, in my opinion, is one of the best performances of this season. Like, again, battered them from pillar to post and won the game deservedly so. And then you're thinking, okay, we can kick on into that Man City game, and then that Man City game was just horrific. And again, it was 2 steps forward, 3 steps back every single time. And that it's really annoying. When you go back and we watch this season over again, we're just going to be sitting there going, if we were just a little bit better this season, we're in a title race right now. Even if, let's just say we beat the promoted teams and draw a couple of the games we lost, we're actually in a title race. We might even be sitting top of the league right now. But we've got no one to blame but ourselves. Like, this hasn't been a season where Man City or Arsenal have run away with it. Big up Jamie, bro. It hasn't been a season where they've run away with it, but it has been a season where they could have been caught had other teams done their business, and we should have been one of those teams. To think if we had played like how we played last season, this season, we walk this league. We walk it. And the reason I say that is, I think you said it earlier, we didn't win any of our last 4 games, right? And we ended the season, I think, on 84 points. If I'm not mistaken, the most any team can get now between now and the end of the season is 85 points. And that means City and Arsenal pretty much going to have to be perfect from now to the end of the season. We weren't perfect for the end of the season. So it's like, we really shot ourselves in the foot. This should have been number 21, in my opinion.
100%, boy. I'll always look back at this and think how everything was set up in the summer for us to do this again, and we just found a way to just not let for it to not happen, basically. I agree with you, bro. The quality of the league this season, I know it's been a big talking point. You know, Arsenal set pieces, this, that.
Yeah.
I agree. Quality's been crap. If we were just a bit better, dare I say it, we'd even win the league again, bro, because the other teams at the top aren't what they used to be. You remember back in 18-19, 21-22, the standard of the league was a lot higher. You look at it now, it's kind of a shadow of itself. People can say it's the Arteta influence, set pieces and that, but it's very hard.
You could argue it's more competitive now, though, as well, to be fair. Like, in, like, the bottom teams have closed the gap more, which is, so if the bottom teams get better, and the teams in the lower half of the league get better, then ultimately it's going to make it harder for the top team. So I expected less points, but I didn't expect the fall off to be like this.
100% agree with that, bro. 100% agree with that. So I do feel there's a couple players this season, bro, that have kind of underperformed, in my opinion. You look at McAllister, for example. I use him. Don't want to, pick on him or nothing, but you can see a big drop off in how good Maka was last year compared to this year. I think Verge has kind of underperformed. Mo, as much as we love him, he has underperformed.
Yeah.
Why do you think certain players have underperformed, bro? Do you think with Mo and Verge's age, and then McAllister, what makes you think? What's your thought process there on why they've underperformed?
McAllister, not to make excuse for him, but for me, for McAllister, it is his legs have gone for me because he's been overplayed over the last few years. It's funny, Jay's in the chat, big up to Jamie. Going into the season, when we signed Verts, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be McAllister and grabbing the pivot and then Verts in the 10. And me and Jamie were like, that's not going to work. Like, Sobbo was doing so much defensive work for Mac and Grav last season. It's like, you have to have Sobbo in the midfield. So for me, it was like, the pivot has to be Sobbo and Grav and then Verts in the 10. And everyone was like, you can't leave Mac out. He's our best midfielder. On paper, going into the season, he was our best midfielder. But also, he'd also been running to the ground. He'd ended the previous season with a bad injury, didn't have a pre-season, and then didn't start the new season properly. I always thought this was going to be a bad season. And us over on Coppish were like, name the person who you think might not have a great season, not because they're not good, but because of all the context around it. And me and Matt, I think, said McAllister. Like, we were worried for McAllister, and those worries have kind of been proven to be true, unfortunately. For Verts, the reason why I give Verts the benefit of the doubt is because he's actually created a bunch of chances that we haven't converted. But also, he's come to a new league, a new team in the possible worst situation, when it be on the field or off the field. So that, again, for me, was an issue. Plus, I don't think our manager knows how to utilize him very well. So yeah, that's that. And who was the other player you mentioned? Sorry, bro.
Salah and Van Dijk as well, bro.
Salah, yeah. Salah for me. Salah's had a little bit of a decline this season from last season, but again, for me, it's been a case of we haven't rotated very well with Salah over the last couple of years because we haven't had anyone to rotate. But also, the change in how he's been utilizing the team has done nothing but hinder him and the rest of the team. He was our creative linchpin, and he was also our best goal getter. And we told him stay wide and deeper in the team when you want Salah close to the goal, and that's where he does his best work and his most damage. So again, weird decisions from the manager for me when as pertains to Verts and Salah. In terms of Virgil hasn't been his imperial. Like, Virgil's a tricky one because Virgil's, if you're looking at any other centre back who has Virgil's season, you're going, oh, they had a good season, because Virgil set such a high standard. Anytime he falls below that, I think people go overboard a little bit. I don't think Virgil's been brilliant this season, but I don't think he's been poor either. Whereas I think Salah has been poor this season, unfortunately. Verts has been indifferent this season, and I think McAllister's been poor. But there is context around all of those. The problem is, how do we address those? Like, Salah's obviously, unfortunately, moving on. Virgil's going to be staying, but then you look at McAllister, what's the situation with him? And then Verts, how do we kick on next season to get the best out of him? So it is a tricky one.
So on that, ball, you led perfectly into the next talking point, the summer window coming up. Obviously, we know Robbo and Mo are definitely gone. There's talks on Alisson, which for me, Alisson's my favourite player, bro. So that one will hurt me deeply if he does go. So that's one. Who else do we have? There's talks on McAllister, Jones as well. Chiesa, I think we know will probably go.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of change, a lot of senior players leaving, which is worrying, bro. The Alissons, Van Dijks potentially. No, not for Van Dijks. The Alissons potentially, Mo and Robbo. So that's experience along with quality that's going.
Yeah.
Are you worried for the future, bro, on what the summer's going to bring and what next season could bring as well?
I am, yeah. I am, because I don't think we've transitioned very well. I think the transition at goalkeeper could potentially be good. I know a lot of people don't seem to like Mamadas really for whatever reason, but in terms of doing the transition between goalkeepers, I think it would have gone better if Alisson was more available. The reason why I want to keep Alisson for one more year is for that transition, because I think that year gives you a buffer. I think Mamadas really should start playing more games, and then from there, we'll see whether he's good enough to take over from Ali. If he's not good enough, then we can go and get someone else. If he is good enough, then we know we're in safe hands. But I think we need a year of having Alisson here to be able to do that still. Right back worries me because Bradley and Frimpong, especially Frimpong, become very injury prone, but Bradley's always been injury prone. But I also look at them and don't think they're starting right backs if you're trying to win the Premier League. Left back, we need to get someone in to either compete with or deputise for Kirkes. Centre back, I still think we're one short unless Gomez stays. Midfield, I think, is one of the biggest problem areas. I think we need two dynamic, combative midfielders in there in the summer. And then we're going to be down to just Rio and Gakpo as our wingers. But because we've lost Ekitike for such a sustained period, a long period, Gakpo for me is going to have to deputise for Isak. So for me, you need at least two wide players to come in the summer as well. It's a lot to do, and it's why I worry because one, are we going to get the right profile? Will we have enough budget to go and get the players that we want or need? And then again, how do we go from adapting again with this transition to having even more new players in the squad? So it's going to be a tricky one, man.
It's concerning, bro, because we know what FSG are like when it comes to spending money, usually by last season. We know we don't trust Slot, the way he plays football and the caliber players he wants to bring in. So it's concerning for sure, bro, 100%. So do you think Konate stays, bro, and shines?
Yes, I do now, yeah.
Fair enough. I agree with you to be fair on that. I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I do.
So it's going to be a lot of change, bro, for sure. Like you said there, bro, you're looking at potentially 10 players needing to be brought in, potentially, depending on what happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as high as that. So I think we could survive if we brought in 5 players.
Fairs, bro.
Survive. Maybe a right back, 2 midfielders, and 2 wingers. I think then we could survive. But if for us to thrive, I think we'd maybe need 6 or 7.
So on the Salah thing, bro, have you got your ideal replacement lined up for him? Who you'd like? Obviously, there's talks on. Obviously, we all would love Elise, bro, but it's just very unlikely.
If it's not Elise, I do struggle because Elise for me would represent someone who could walk straight into this team. Diamande's having a very good season, but it's his first breakout season. It's in Germany as well. So I'd need a bit more of a sample size potentially, or I'd want to bring him in as the backup to a new right winger. If we're going to get a backup right winger, I think we could do a lot worse than Bowen as well. If he's going to be available, it looks like West Ham might stay up now, so I don't think he'll leave. Kudus is maybe someone we could look at, just even though the injuries could be a bit of a problem, but he can also play in a 10 as well. There are players out there. There's just no one who's going to come in and replicate what Salah does. But I don't know if we need someone to come in and replicate what Salah does or did, because we now have Isak, we have Wirtz, so we have goals through the centre now. So maybe we just need wingers who are a bit more creative and good in terms of dribbling and beating players and keeping players on their toes throughout a game rather than goal-getting wingers. I
agree with that 100%, bro. Alisson, bro, this is a bit of a touchy subject because he's both of our favourite players, as you said. Do you think he does go or do you think he stays?
I'm 50-50. I know I'm sitting on the fence with this one, bro. I'm 50-50. I think he only goes if Juventus coming with a serious offer. If they don't, then I think he'll stay.
I do think if he does, I think next season probably will be his last season, bro. If he does stay.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, 100%.
I do think next year will be his last one. So a lot of change, bro. And it feels like a lot of senior players want to jump ship, bro. And that kind of tells you not everything's right behind the scenes currently.
Yeah, it's worrying.
The manager situation. It almost feels like they've been told he's staying and they don't want no part of it. Hence why they want to jump ship. I don't know if you feel the same way on that.
I don't know if they necessarily want to jump ship. They might just be at a point in their career where they're just like they want to play guaranteed football. The Salah one feels like he was forced out, if I'm going to be honest, and I'm not a fan of that idea. It does feel like he's been forced out. With Alisson, again, if we're going to transition from him to Mamardashvili, then Mamardashvili is going to have to get way more game time. And we could have a club just to explain this to Alisson. Alisson might just go, well, I want to play as many minutes as possible. I'm getting to that age now where I haven't got long left at the top of the game. If Juve come in for me and I'm guaranteed to be the starter there and I'm going to play Champions League football and stuff, then I might just go for that. So I don't think that's the club or the players' fault. I think sometimes we're quick to blame a player or the club if someone wants to leave. Sometimes it's just a different of opinion and it can still be resolved amicably. Luis Diaz wanted a new contract. We didn't want to give him a contract for whatever reason. Again, I didn't have an issue of losing Diaz. The issue for me was not replacing him. So if we replace these players, then while we'll miss them and we'll always admire them for what they did for the club, we'll be fine. It's if we're having this conversation in a year's time, bro, and we're like, miss Allison, I miss Salah, it's because we haven't replaced these players adequately enough. So
I hear that, bro. I do hear that 100%. I agree with you, bro, with what you said earlier. I think we'll spend money. I just don't think we're going to do enough. I can see us spending, but I just feel like there's going to be a key area in the team where we're lacking.
yeah. Because
Before
we always do that.
Always, bro. In 2020, we were lacking at centre back. 2023, 24, we were lacking a DM. I feel we're going to go into next season and there's something lacking, whether it's a centre back, a winger, somewhere. I feel it could cost us next year as well.
I agree.
100%, man. So it's certainly going to be an interesting summer, bro. And I would love it if Slot does go, bro. On the manager thing, bro. So you obviously think he'll stay. I'm still holding out hope, bro, because I've seen Fabrizio Romano saying we're going to see a review and that. I know Ornstein and them are saying it's confirmed. I'm still hoping because I'm sure you're the same, bro. I can't do another year.
It's the hope that kills, though, bro. It's the hope that kills, bro.
It's the hope that kills, man. It is 100%. It's just hard to. It's going to be hard to watch next season, knowing how bad this year's been and seeing this again. Have you got your ideal manager in place, bro? Who you'd like? Obviously, Alonso is the talking point. Is there anyone else you'd look at?
Enrique for me.
Enrique. If he was available, bro, I agree. He'd be the one.
If he's not available, then Alonso. But if Enrique becomes available, it's got to be him. Has to be him.
So with the Alonso to Chelsea rumours, bro, I know you were talking about it on the show yesterday as well. Do you see any truth to that, or do you think?
Oh, there'll definitely be truth to it because Chelsea will look at him and go, he could definitely change our fortunes, and he's been good at working with younger players as well. I just think Alonso would hold out for Liverpool. If he gets an indication from Liverpool that there's no chance that we're going to go in for him, then I think he would take the job.
Yeah. To be fair with Chelsea, but it's looking more likely that they're going for that Bournemouth manager, Iraola. So that could be a positive.
I rate Iraola. I'm going to be honest. I do rate him.
I think he's a good. I take him at Liverpool, bro, as well.
So would I.
Obviously,
yeah. I think people sleep on Iraola quite a lot because he's not a big name. I'll take Iraola in a heartbeat.
100%, bro.
I think he's got the potential to really kick on and be a special manager.
Yeah, agreed on that, bro. Definitely agreed. I just don't know what the club are thinking here, bro, because Alonso's there, ex-player, proven winner in Germany, has the connection with the fans, understands the club. Why not just make the change? Why persist with Slot? It just, the fans aren't really taking to him. He hasn't got their support. He himself looks like he's homesick, bro. I look at him and I feel he looks like a man who wants to go back to Holland.
There's a lot of rumours about that, aren't there? That his family's still over there, and obviously he's been linked with the Ajax job. Which, if that is the case, you can understand how he might feel about that. But for me, we have to make sure we act on what we're doing.
100%, bro. I think I feel FSG are out of the loop on the thing, bro. I don't think they're as in the loop on what's going on. So I do feel they'll probably take the sporting director's words for it, because I think ultimately it'll be down to Hughes and Edwards whether he stays. And we know Hughes especially is very advocating of Slot, isn't he? So I feel FSG might just take their word for it. So we'll see what happens there, bro. But do you see a world where Alonso doesn't go anywhere this summer? Because I look at it and think he's been Madrid, he played for them, he's done that. Bayern obviously are set. Vincent's just signed a new contract there. Liverpool, we might keep Slot. PSG, they're going to keep Enrique. City, I don't think they'd go for him. Chelsea, I think get Iraola. Where do you think, if he does go anywhere, I don't see where he goes if it's not Liverpool. I don't see him getting
I don't think he goes through the summer the only way he goes through the summer is if two things: no one wants him, or because they're not sacking their managers, or because we told him sit tight because if things start badly for Slot, then we'll come in for you. But I'd be very shocked if he doesn't go to a club in the summer. Very shocked.
I do hear that, bro. Could you see a world where maybe we go into the summer with Slot, the season with Slot, sorry, and then it goes badly, he gets booted, and then Alonso's available and the change gets made? If that happens, bro, I think FSG got to count their stars, because that would be the biggest get out of jail free card ever. Can you see a world where that happens?
But I'm like you. I don't want us to go in a season and then potentially write off another season because we start so badly. So, but I do think that will happen. I do think he starts the season. Unfortunately,
I hear that, bro. Do you think he lasts for season, bro, next year, or do you think we do end up sacking him?
I think he ends up getting sacked.
Yeah, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that Brendan Rodgers 2.0 situation where
Yes,
the fans are always saying sack him, sack him, sack him. They're persistent with him.
Yeah.
Goes wrong. Because I don't know how you feel, but I feel we could end up being worse next year.
So do I. That's what I'm saying. Everyone keeps on saying, "Oh, we can't get any worse." I'm like, "Oh, we can.
We can." But I mean, just look at Spurs, bro, this season.
Because
I mean, no one would think that.
Yeah.
No one would think that Spurs would be where they are. So I do think I don't see it improving much, but I mean, I really don't. Especially with him getting even more of his signings, because then when you sack him eventually, a new manager will come in and he'll have a bunch of players that he doesn't particularly take to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then another transition.
It's another transition, another rebuild. Bro, we need to act fast, man. We need to act fast.
100%, bro. So it'll be interesting, bro. I know, obviously, you think he'll stay. I'm starting to mentally prepare for him staying as well. I'm not going to get my whole up. I'm mentally preparing in my head. He's going to be here. I think he's going to be here. And then I'll be surprised if he does go. So that's how I'm feeling on it as well. I don't think we challenge for the league under him next season. I think with senior players leaving, we could struggle as well.
Yeah.
And I agree, but I think he goes. Top 5 race, man. And if Alonso goes somewhere else, we're screwed, bro, because when we sack him, there's no one available. So we could be in problems, man, for sure. Which is why I think the summer, like you said, is even more important. 100% there. So then, just to finish up then, bro, the rest of the season, obviously, the Palace game wasn't great. The Derby game for me, bro, that's the biggest game of the season for me. I know people go United, but for me, the Everton game is the biggest one. I'm glad we won it. Didn't really care about the performance, just wanted to win. These last 4 games now, big one this weekend, bro, Manchester United away. Then we got Chelsea at home, Villa away, and then Brentford on the final day. So how do you see these last 4 games going, bro? Do you think top 5 secured? Do you think we get all 4 wins? How do you see the last 4 games going?
Oh, no, we're not getting all 4 wins. I think out of the last 4 games, we get anything between 5 and 7 points.
I hear that.
But I think that'll be enough to get us over the line because, again, Chelsea, I feel like they're struggling this season. I don't think they'll be able to close the gap. If Chelsea were close to us, then I'd be like, we could be in trouble. But because they're not close to us, I feel we'll be able to get over the line now.
Yeah. How do you see the United game at the weekend going, bro? Do you think we can get some?
Nah, I think we lose that game. I think we could lose it quite comprehensively as well, which is, it would annoy me. It worries me a bit as well.
Them doing
the double over. Do you think we'll get anything?
Nah, but I've gone with a 2-1 United win, but that's me being nice. I'll be honest. I think I know they've kind of fell off a bit recently, but we're not great, man. If we turn up the way we did against Palace to Old Trafford, I think it could be a long day, 100%, man. So I don't think we win that, bro. I'll be very surprised if we get anything from that game, to be fair. It'd be nice, though, but them doing the double would just show how bad this season's been, and it would show how bad we've been this year. I do think we'll beat Chelsea at home, but I think we'd have enough to beat them. Villa away again, I don't think we win that. And then Brentford at home, last game, we might just get a win there. So I agree. Yeah. I think we'll have enough. But again, bro, we're only in this position because other teams below us have been so bad. If Chelsea weren't so bad, we wouldn't even be in the top 5.
It could be a very different situation. So gotta be grateful.
100%, man, 100%. It's mad how if we do beat United, bro, this weekend, I think we go level on points with them. So if we do win this weekend, bro, 3rd place all of a sudden is a possibility again, which is mad. Just shows again the quality of the league this season.
Yeah, it's been a weird season, the weirdest of seasons.
100%, bro. It's definitely been a weird season. I don't know about you, bro. I can't wait for the season to end. I really can't.
Oh, I wanted this season to end for weeks now. Like it's literally for me. It's just going through the motions now. Like just get through the games and then go from there.
I hear that, bro. It's I just want to see us playing some good football again, man. That's the worst bit for me is the fact that we can't take the slot. You know, as a person with Klopp, we all had that connection with him. We just can't have that with Slot. You know, he's come out with some weird comments as well, where he said the 2 leagues in 30 years, stuff which again didn't sit well. He's come out and undermined Klopp. I think after the COLLAB game, he mentioned the 3-0 Europa League defeat to Atlanta. You know, he's just said some crazy stuff that for me If he hadn't said that, I'd have been open to being won back over by him. But when he's come out and dissed the club slightly, dissed Klopp slightly, I just feel, it's you're too far gone now, man. It's better if we just depart ways. I don't know how you feel about that, bro.
You know, bro, he's been gaslighting the fan base for a while now, and unlike you, I think it's enough's enough. I don't think we, as a fan base, and him will have that connection going forward, and I do think it's better to leave it now rather than get even more toxic than it is already. So, but as I said, I don't think we will.
I do hear that, bro, 100%. I remember you said last night, bro, that, you might end up doing just going back over past games last season and things that made you. I'm feeling the same. Go back to 21, 22, 18, 19. Just go back and watch those games that, gave us joy, because I don't feel we're going to have a lot of joy next year. The fact that we spent 5 mil, bro, and we got no trophy, not even a Carabao Cup, just doesn't sit well with me, man. It doesn't sit well with me. And the fact we're getting the piss taken out of us left, right, and centre, we deserve it, man. We deserve it, don't we?
It's the way we went out of the cups as well. The Carabao Cup he threw that competition completely. The Man City FA Cup, awful, and then PSG, like, we put up no fight in those games, like very little to no fight.
100%, bro. I remember after the game, bro, Slot was going on about we had more ball possession in Paris Saint-Germain, so that shows that we could compete with them. I mean, it's just such an idiotic thing to say. We had more ball possession in them. That shows we can go toe. PSG didn't take us seriously, but over them 2 legs, they really didn't, man. That first leg could have been more than it could have been at least 4 or 5 if it wasn't for Mohamed release. So it's just been a season to forget, man. It's everything that could have gone wrong, bro, has gone wrong. It's weird, what I mean. The total opposite of what we do in the summer. Now, it's just gone crazy, absolutely crazy. It is mad, really is crazy, man. So I'm hopeful that in the summer, regardless what happens, we will see a better version of Liverpool next year. But again, that's just me hoping, bro. I'm sure you're the same as well.
Yeah,
so we'll just
completely,
hope,
bro.
So we'll just hope. But bro, of course, big up yourself, man. I appreciate you coming on.
No,
I appreciate
thank
your
you,
time
man.
as always, man. It
Thank
means a
you,
lot.
my bro.
I know we've had this thing in the works for a while now, but never confirmed anything. It's great to finally, get something done, and it's an honor to have you on the channel, bro. So big up yourself, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Love what you're doing, man. Continue what you're doing, and you got my number, man. We'll make this happen again. So
100%, bro. 100%. So just to close up, then, bro. Anything coming up on Coppish or your own channel you want to tell the people about?
Oh, we have got a few things. I can't say yet because we still got to confirm a few things with some other people outside. But yeah, we've got some exciting things in the pipeline. Just our normal shows, obviously, on a weekly basis, but we have some exciting things in the pipeline as well. But I can't share it yet because we need to finalize a few things. But yeah, very soon.
I hear that, man. I hear that, bro. Guys, make sure you do sub to Coppish, man. Best Liverpool fan channel out there. Callum, Matt, and Drifty doing great work. Callum, of course, doing great work on his own channel as well. Drifty and Matt, of course, have their own channels too. Do drop a sub, guys. I will obviously add them in the title as well. So, again, appreciate you being on, bro. Definitely make something happen in the future as well. So, big up to you all, man. Big up to you all. Big up to the chat as well. Big up to everyone who locked in, man. I will shout everyone out. Big up Twisted Fate. Big up Clive. Big up to Jamie as well. Means a lot, Jamie, being in, man. Big up yourself. Big up to Bus Baptiste. Big up to Rasta Stocks, my brother Rasta there. Big up to Indian Scouser, the legend himself in the building. Big up yourself, bro. Big up to Marcus. Big up to TTM, man. Appreciate you being in. And then big up to Chronic Red as well. Big up yourself, man. Big up to you all, man. It's been a great show. Been a great talk with Callum, man. And big up, man. And yeah, we'll speak to you soon, man. For now, it's been Liverpool Prophet. It's been Callum from Coppish. Big up yourselves in a bit. And we are out. Peace.